I promise, Mer, that John will sit next to me and I will check on him.
Yeah, he'll bring his ankle bracelet and we'll give you the ear tag. I'm going to just buy one so he can carry it around with him. So he will always have one on him.
Welcome back to the Sports Dentistry podcast. We're back again. Umar, have you got up to much this week?
This week just been busy in the clinic. I've got a good story for you actually. I'm just going to start away with a good story. I was in getting my haircut at the Turkish barbers on Friday.
You don't have too many haircuts left.
Oh, there he is. I've got plenty of hair cuffling. Look at that thick hair there. Yeah, so I was into the barbers, and to be fair, I've been seeing the guy for a good couple of years. But anyway, he asked me, "What do you do?" Anyway, I was like, "I've been seeing you for 2 years, man. Like I've told you plenty of times. You must have just forgotten." Anyway, so yeah, I'm a dentist, and he was talking about how, really cool. He said, what you should do. So I've got a good business proposition for you. I was like, yeah, very good. Tell me. He said, what you should do is any patients who want to get like cosmetic treatment done or they want to get hair transplants or stuff done, you can send them to a clinic in Turkey. And then if they go to Turkey and they get their treatment done, you get 20% commission from that. I was like, okay, very good. That's very interesting. So what you could do even better is you can go out there and you can work in one of the clinics. So you can get a patient to come here. You can do a treatment plan, but say, look, come fly out to Turkey. Come out to Turkey. You do the treatment in Turkey. And then you get all that money, put it in a Turkish bank account, and you come back and goes, yeah, that sounds great, man. I'll have a little think about it. And he literally ranted for the whole time I was getting my haircut. And I was just sitting there saying, yeah, that sounds great, man. That sounds very, very good. Very interesting. I don't know if I can go back. To that guy now.
It shows you how popular it is. Now, I actually had a patient come in to me a couple of months ago who got his teeth done in Turkey. And he had like a Maryland bridge with no posterior support and it broke. So he came in as an emergency looking some advice. But what was interesting about him was that he didn't go to Turkey for his teeth. He went to Turkey for his hair. And he says he went to Turkey to get his hair done. And across the street was a place doing teeth. So he just thought, since I'm here, may as well go and get my teeth done. And he came back with a full mouth of zirconian crowns.
Oh my goodness.
As like the mindset of people. It was definitely interesting to try to understand the mindset.
I think it's important to stress that there is obviously exceptional dentists out in Turkey, but I think we're talking about dental tourism, aren't we here? Just about people coming and flying in and fly out. Yeah. So
dental tourism,
which is a big thing. How's your week been?
It's good. I was interested this week. World Rugby had their wellness seminars in this week. Did you see it? They had it was like an online educational day for sports medics and stuff like that. So they had a session on the IMGs, the instrument mouth guards. So it was Wednesday morning. So I listened into that. Was quite interesting. But and they've got a lot of data now. So they did the exact same series about this time last year, and they only really had the data from the start of 2024, and they had limited data, but it was sort of projecting what sort of types of things they could do with the data. But now they've had so much data that they're saying that out of all the sports, they have the most data when it comes to head acceleration events, like of any sport in the world. So that was really interesting about how far ahead they are compared to other sports with having this data on head acceleration events. And then they also, what was quite interesting was looking at how they're looking at the moment of developing the mouth guard to have an LED which will light up whenever a head acceleration event that needs to be assessed happens. And they've trialed that, I believe, in the American Rugby League.
Okay.
So they've already had trials with that so they're looking at placing an LED now along with the tach. So whenever the threshold has been hit, whether that's from a single one or from a cumulative event, that the LED will light up. So to make it really easy then for the referee, for the sports medics, for people to see that an event now has happened that needs to be assessed.
That's interesting because when we sit pitch side and we've got the person from Prevent sitting there with the iPad and they're having to wait for pings and they're like, and then there's a little bit of a delay because then you're looking at Hawkeye and then you're seeing if the players showing any signs of concussion, and then you have to then go and tell the fourth official. So I think if there is something like that, that would help identify quickly if there is something has happened and it's reached the threshold. It's only going to be beneficial, I think, to speed things up and to take any sort of question marks out of it. But it's amazing. Again, the initiative is there to continue to improve from what they've already got, so I think as technology improves and as hopefully chips get a little bit smaller, they'll be able to incorporate more things like that. It's going to make it a little bit easier. And no surprise they've got that much data, because just how much emphasis they put on elite athletes wearing the IMGs, and not just the men's, the women's, but the under 20s as well. It's kind of been roped out worldwide, isn't it?
Yeah, it's great. It's great where they've backed it and they've really went for it, and they'll be able to see the benefits of it. I know they've had some barriers to overcome with compliance and buy-in and things like that, but I think a lot of that has been overcome, and it's really just going to be very beneficial whenever they're able to get so much data and be able to assess it on so many different levels.
Yeah. One thing actually we didn't touch on was the Chris Eubank and Conor Benn fight, and the fact that Chris Eubank Jr. was wearing obviously an upper mouth guard, but he was wearing a lower one as well throughout the fight.
There were two separate mouth guards, were there? Or was it?
Yeah. No, I think it was separate. Yeah. Pretty interesting.
Possibly. He looks like he got his teeth done. Maybe it was just trying to protect his investment.
It could be that. But I think that was an interesting thing to see, because obviously we advocate upper mouth guards, but the lower mouth guards, and how that we talked about occlusion, and we talked about how that could affect certain things. So it was interesting to see that he was able to win fight for 12 rounds firstly, and then win the fight wearing an upper and lower appliance. So it shows you that if you have patients or athletes asking you for an upper and lower mouth guard, that you can wear it, because if the best in the world's wearing it, or one of the best in the world's wearing it, then there's no reason as to why an amateur athlete would want to wear it as well. But
yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sold on the benefits of it. Like the majority of dental traumas are to the upper teeth, even if it is contact on the lower jaw. It's usually the lower jaw hitting the top teeth and causing the issue. So the upper mouth guard should help protect that. But it could be something that could be used a lot for patients going through particularly fixed orthodontics that have the brackets on the top teeth and the lower teeth. That's something that could maybe be of benefit to help prevent any lacerations to the lower lip from contact that way. Because you see a lot of times there's this type of mouth guard which sort of covers top and bottom, but it's one appliance.
Yeah.
It's one mouth guard, and people find that a little bit difficult to breathe in and stuff, just to the amount of room that takes up the mouth. But having custom fitted mouth guards for top and bottom, even if it was just maybe a 1 to 2 millimeter EVA sheet on the lowers just to cover the fixed ortho, I could see how that would be of benefit.
Yeah.
But I'm not 100% sold on the sort of benefit Chris Eubank would have been getting out of that from a protective point of view anyway.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. It's just interesting to see. That was all, I suppose, after seeing the photos from the fight. So it's been a few days now since we've released Clara's podcast, and your initial thoughts on the reaction to that?
Yeah, it's been great. It's really opened up. I think every time we have a conversation with all these different sports dentists, particularly from different areas across the world, they've all slightly different ways of doing things, and really sort of opens your mind to possibilities of what we could add to our game, and the ability of adding like the facial protection is really something that's very interesting. That's not really done here, but you can see how much of a benefit it could add. Yeah,
definitely. Like we said, when we were speaking to her, it's great that they're kind of leading the way in terms of that facial protection, and hopefully trying to bring that out into Europe. And I see that her and her colleague Kellen have released a online mouthguard course. I think they just released that this week, I'm pretty sure. So if anybody's interested in looking into that, I think we'll probably touch base with Clara, but maybe just you can contact her or colleague Helen directly, and hopefully that's quite successful for them, because again, they lead the way in terms of kind of mouthguards and the sheer passion that they have with regards to how to make customized mouthguards, how it can vary from athlete to athlete. There'll be lots of information on it from what I can see. So good luck to them with that adventure.
Yeah, it's good. And we're going to see Clara in Dusseldorf as well Now, you were talking about boxing there. We've had a wee bit of a hiccup for our own conference on the 12th of September. It's just been announced that Canelo is going to fight Crawford on the 12th of September in Las Vegas.
Ah.
So last night, did you see they had the boxing event in New York in Times Square over the last 2 nights?
Yes, I saw. I haven't looked into it too much, but I did see something.
Yeah, it was quite interesting. But they announced last night after the Canelo fight that he'll fight Terence Crawford, which will be a fight like that's 2 of the best boxers of our generation. So it's going to be a legendary fight. So I'm not sure we'll be able to get the Bernie points to ditch Manchester and go to Las Vegas, but we'll definitely have to look into trying to find somewhere in Manchester after the cricket to watch it.
I'm sure we'll be able to find somewhere that'll put us up to watch the boxing. So that looks like it's going to be an absolutely fantastic day of sport, not just the cricket, but hopefully the boxing and potentially into the early hours of the morning. But I think if you are an avid sports fan like you and I, then it's something that we will certainly look into. And, ticket sales have been going well for the conference. Can you give us a bit of information about kind of where we're sitting at number-wise? I know they're selling pretty fast, so if people are keen to get involved, then they need to probably get onto the website and start buying their tickets.
Yeah, well, I think it's important to highlight that we have a limited number of full day tickets, which includes the conference, the dinner, and the cricket. So it's important if you're thinking about getting to the full day that to get on the tickets as soon as possible, because just with the ability of the 2 different venues and stuff, we do have a limited number. So get onto that. And speaking of conferences, it leads us nicely into our next guest, which is, it's going to be an interesting conversation because this is Rũta from Lithuania, and she's set up the first sports dentistry conference in the Baltics, which is happening next month. So it's really interesting. It'll be really interesting to hear how she's been able to develop that. And hopefully we've seen a great rise in sports dentistry associations in different countries and conferences and stuff. But there's still a lot of countries out there and a lot of areas out there where there isn't a sports dentistry association or there hasn't been a sports dentistry conference. So hopefully this conversation will help give someone the confidence that they're going to be able to go out and maybe start an association or even just run a conference in their area and start raising the awareness of the importance of sports dentistry.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing that Rũta's done here is it's not just a one nation. So it's the Baltics, isn't it? So, Lithuania, Estonia, Latvia, a number of countries that she's kind of pulled together to help push this conference and to help launch this conference. And I was having a look at the lineup for the 2 days. It looks incredible. It looks really, really good. Rũta's done a great job there, and hopefully we'll be able to give her a good platform for her to be able to explain kind of how she got into it and how she's managed to get to the point where she's managed to get some really great speakers for these 2 days, and just her background in terms of sports dentistry and what it is that she actually does out in the Baltics.
Yeah, it's going to be good. I'm not going to try to pronounce her second name. There's not a chance I'm going to get that right. So let's get going with our conversation with Rũta.
Let's go.
Hey everyone, save the date. The UK Sports Dentistry Association's second conference is happening on Friday the 12th of September at the Voco Hotel in Manchester. And guess what? It's not just about teeth. We're combining cutting-edge sports dentistry talks with the thrill of live sport. Right after the conference, we're heading to Emirates Old Trafford for the England versus South Africa T20 International. Expect a day packed with expert speakers, athlete Q&A sessions, and plenty of time for networking with dentists, sports pros, and athletes alike. Whether you're in dentistry or passionate about sport, this is a day you won't want to miss. Tickets are live now at sportsdentistryuk.com. Grab yours and join us for an unforgettable day. I'm delighted to welcome as guest for this podcast is Rũta Turčinskienė. No, didn't get it right. No.
Rũta Turčinskienė. It's nice to meet you.
I think we need to give
close.
John a 1 out of 10 for pronunciation there, Rũta.
Yeah.
So you're based. I'm really looking forward to this conversation because you've recently set up a sports dentistry association in the Baltics, and you're running your first conference. And from ourselves, from setting up the UK Sports Dentistry Association, we know the challenges and how difficult it is to set up associations and try to get them built. And we were fortunate in the UK that there was already quite a lot of sports dentistry being done in different areas, whether through UCL, or we had also hosted the European Association for Sports Dentistry Conference. So we already had a little bit of a background. So it'd be really interesting to hear from your perspective the sort of challenges that you've got setting up sports dentistry where you are. And hopefully this conversation will be an inspiration for dentists in countries that don't have a sports dentistry association, that'll hopefully be able to inspire them to get something set up where they're based. So just maybe a little bit of a background, Rũta, first of all, on how did you get into dentistry, and then maybe how you got into sports dentistry, and we'll go from there.
Nice to meet you all. It's a big pleasure to talk about my own experience. And really, I am more than 10 years working as a dentist, and I'm specializing in craniomandibular dysfunction. So I noticed that I need a team and I need more knowledge, not just as a dentist, to solve some clinical situation for the patients that they are coming all over the Lithuania places. And then a few years ago, I got amazing invitation to join the Sports Dentistry Congress in Edinburgh. And it was really a game changer, because there I got the details, the small details, and every information that I already knew as a dentist, it got other value. The information got the other value where I can adapt this information. And with big support from colleagues of all the Europe, we created Baltic Sports Dentistry and Medicine Association. So it was not a big challenge to create the association, but the challenges are coming now when I need to talk about what is the sports dentist, why he is different, what knowledge should be in his head, for example. And it's also very important, I think, to talk about the frames of association, because like all the colleagues from Europe, and you too also, we need to go, and we are going to some standards. So we can't talk just I am the sports dentist, I am too. We need some standards, and we need some frames of associations that we could do the same thing in UK, the same thing in Baltic states, the same thing in some other Europe states. So now some challenging is coming, because we are also organizing first Congress of Sports Dentistry in Baltic states. So it's interesting part of my life now.
Very good. And then, so have you been able to develop sports? Did you study in Lithuania? You're based in Lithuania. Did you study there? Is that where you've always practiced dentistry, and then trying to introduce that into the sports dentistry into your normal clinic and things like that? How has that been?
I had to learn even more, some specific things sports dentists should know. And yes, now I am adapting this protocol, and I'm starting to work with high level, high performance, or even just casual sportsmen, athletes. And I see that, I can't say that I use very different protocol for the athlete than the protocol for the person who just came at my chair, because I want to do the best things that we could do. It's to work the chewing system as it should be work. This is the first step, what we usually do as a sports dentist. We just eliminating some compensations. We give opportunity to work for the chewing system properly. And it's not a need for athletes. It should be done for each patient usually, but with athletes we can help them to prevent some traumas and sometimes to have better results too. So yes, I'm now adapting these protocols to my casual days, and it's really interesting because we started some collaborations with technology university with the athletes measuring some laboratories. So we now we can talk with the data, how sports dentist can be part of the team and what results he can do. So we can measure everything. This is maybe the main, message.
And have you found integrating that into the medical association and the medical counterparts quite easy? Have they been quite receptive about having a sports dentist on board?
It's maybe not a very usual situation because I am a member of Lithuanian Sports Medicine Federation for already few, maybe 2 years, something like that. And it's not that when I became working as a sports dentist, then I became to talking about integration and so on. It was a little bit before. And now it's maybe easier for me to talk because they know some things, but it's very new. It's very new because it was difficult before to talk about inflammation in the mouth because usually we can't measure it. Or even when we talk as a dentist, the probing, bleeding index, and no one understands, is it very bad or is it just little bad? What's going on? And the mouth was disconnected, because usually the medical society don't understand what we are talking and how big inflammation there really could be in the mouth. So if you allow, I can share that with Professor Tillman and Dr. Stavros. We already did some athletes examination here in Lithuania in February. It was international project. And what we noticed that MP8 potential, the saliva biomarker, is really working good. He's amazing and he's very accurate because it correlates with the clinical situation perfectly. What we noticed in the athlete's mouth and what the measurements of biomarkers were, they were very good matched. So now we have the instrument to talk with the medical society too, because we are talking the same language. I think this is also a very, very important thing to talk about.
Yes, that's interesting. So it's trying to, you were saying it was difficult to have that conversation with the sports medicine society because they maybe didn't understand the dental side of things. But then there is they do a lot of work with saliva. So using a saliva biomarker, did you find by using something that they are familiar with, that it was easier then to have that conversation with them?
Yes, definitely, because we're talking about the measurements, the inflammation measurements that they already know. And then it becomes easier to understand, it's really big inflammation. Why is it silent inflammation? Why we can't see it in the blood measurements? Then we try to talk about the main measurements and some blood tests, what usually athletes have, and in the usually tests there's no specific ones that could show the inflammation in the mouth. Even the silent inflammation, the acute inflammation, yes, maybe you can see some correlations in the blood usually. But lots of athletes really have some silent inflammations and it really affects all the body, the recovering processes, and also it works as one of the part of trauma, I think. So now it's easier for me to talk.
So chat us through then that screening process that you did. Did that involve your normal screening protocols, but also taking salivary samples and getting them tested? Just chat us through that. And were you using a local lab to test the salivary samples, and was there much turnaround time, and what sort of process is involved with that?
No, we have a device. It's the diagnostics device that already have the tests. It's very easy. 1 minute you just rinse the distillated water and you split all the saliva in the small box, you can say, yeah. And just 5 minutes after, you have the measurement done, and you see exactly the personalized situation of the person, of the patient, or the athlete. How you describe it's no difference. And then you can say what inflammation is. It's measured in nanograms in milliliter, and then you see how active the enzyme is that is doing the breakdown of the collagen. And then you see if it's very, very big, you can see even the tendency that it's not the inflammation, not just local in the mouth. You can see the systematical some signs of the inflammation. So you directly give the information to the team medical chief, for example, or just for the doctor of the athlete or for the patient, and then you became as a part of inflammation reducing. So it's very, very interesting, and it's very easy. You don't need to send to the lab, and it's just 6 minutes. So
okay. So from a practical point of view, can you see this being something that can be added to the screening of athletes? So we have a lot of sports dentists that are going out and doing pre-season screening, and they'll maybe only get a window of 10, 15 minutes per athlete. Is this something that you can see being introduced at that level, or is it something that needs to be allocated a little bit more time and done within the clinic?
definitely, I can't say that it's the gold standard. Yeah, we are searching how to optimize and to get as much info as we can during the shortest time that we are saving time of the athletes. We are saving time of ourselves as a dentist too. So such biomarkers, such integration of diagnostics that we can use some digital devices, some to make the faster process. And if we have, for example, bad saliva test, we can do the probing and check twice, for example, or even deeper, but we're saving the time. Because nowadays everyone is thinking about the time. And when you are getting athlete in your clinic, he is asking how long the procedure will be, how long. And if you are having big team, they are in rush. They don't have lots of time, but you need to be accurate and you need to get as much info from them when they are in your chair. So I have lots of ideas how to go to as much digital way, as much markers way to save all time.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think the biggest thing that a lot of athletes ask about is time. When will they get back to fitness? When can they get back to train? When can they get back to competition? So loss of time is a massive thing. The tests that you were doing in February, what athletes were you testing? And was it equal male, female? Did you see a difference between the male and female athletes in terms of their biomarkers and the results?
If honestly, we haven't checked the parameters of males or females, but we had, I think, 6 or 7 types of athletes. There were football ones, basketball ones. Also, we have athletics. It was different kinds of athletics. It was jumpers, throwers, and so on. Also, we had a few Paralympic ones, swimmers, and it was like mixed. Was very, very good to do some different checkups, because there are always the kind of the sports. Some of them have very asymmetric sports, and when you are checking not just the bite, but all the chewing system that contains also the breathing and the neck and the posture a little bit, yeah. So it was good to see the different branches of the sports. But what we have noticed that the swimmers, for example, their biomarkers were worse than others, because they are all the time they're spending in the chlorided water. And what the conclusions we are going to, I can say that it's black on the white now. But the microbiome of the mouth is in bigger disturbance because of the water with the chloride, we think so. So they are having not the same microbiome usually. So this is also could be affected what the markers shows.
And were you able to have a look into the swimmers, maybe do it just after they had done like a training session in the water, compared to when maybe they had a break from the water, to see were they any more, was it like a higher risk when they were just exposed to the water? Have you looked into it that way, or is it just that you've noticed in this screening that the swimmers were different than the other athletes?
Yeah, we just saw that the swimmers were different than the other athletes, and we haven't go deeper with this research. We have all coded data, for example, that is saved just in the association side, inside of the associations of Germany Sports Dentistry Association, Baltics Sports Dentistry Association, and Austria, Sports Dentistry Association. So we can use these data for deeper researches in the future. But now it was just to check up a little bit what is the situation, because there wasn't done before any research, something like that, any diagnostics for such different kinds of athletes. And we used the standardized protocol from European Sports for Dentistry Association page that is officially published, yeah. And we checked the points, how fast we can do this examination, what could be adapted, how it could be modified, because maybe in future we need to modify it to the faster protocol. So this was the reason of this project. But we have data, we can think what could be done.
And what type of numbers of athletes did you review, and did you find it difficult to recruit the athletes? How was that recruitment process? Were you able to get contact through the Institute of Sport equivalent out there, or how were you able to recruit the athletes, and were you able to get a large number to be able to review?
I can say that it was a very large number. We had 35 athletes, so it's like optimal. Yeah, it was. But we had just 2 days, and we were just three dentists, and we did some X-rays also as protocol. Ask us. We did intraoral scannings. We did saliva biomarkers. We did the checkups from the published protocol. And look, maybe we can do it fast, but it wasn't fast. So it was just 35 athletes. How we invited them, we connected with the federations, sports associations, that we are inviting athletes for free diagnostics examination. And it was not very good time because there were Winter Olympic some games with the young athletes. So they were in the athletes in competition, but also we had very big support from National Sports Agency, who shared the information, and athletes just came. They wanted to know the situation because no one in Lithuania is not checking the mouth of the athletes when they are active in sports. They usually have their own dentist, but they go like random, oh, I have a toothache, I go to the dentist. Oh, I need oral hygiene, I was 1 year ago, so it's time for me to go. But no one is checking the parameters of the mouth, inflammatory or functional. No one. So it was interesting for them. And I know that in other countries, there are already protocols that are working better because you have more experience. And it's very easy for me to talk about sports dentistry when I have on my back all European Sports Dentistry Association, just all amazing doctors, John, you, Umair, that are working lots of years in sports dentistry. It's easy for me to start and to do the same or to be part of this. But in Lithuania, no team is having no sports dentist at all. But I think we will make some changes here.
And then just maybe give us a little bit of a background into the different types of sports in Lithuania. What's the most popular sports? And is there, I'm just going off what happens in other countries, but like in Ireland, they would have an institute of sport, but that'll be focused more around Olympic type sports. And other sports then would have their own associations and things like that. So what are the popular sports in Lithuania? And then how are you able then to try to raise awareness into these sports about the importance of sports dentistry?
You see, I can't say that we have just one popular sport. Yeah, we try to do some different sports, even last 5 or 10 years. The swimming is becoming also very popular as a basketball, because Lithuania is the basketball country. But we also are having nice football teams, and they are even better and better becoming. But I can't say that Lithuania just the main point, because I am talking about Baltic states, because even in Estonia and in Latvia, there is no one who official and with the standards go for sports dentistry. So in Latvia, we have amazing and very strong team of ice hockey, for example. So there is opportunity to go in different fields and not specify just in one arch, of the sports. So it's and easy and not very easy, because you need to know too much, specifics. And I am always learning. And I'm going to talk with the physiotherapists and say, oh, told me how kinetic works. He's running, what he needs, what parameters he needs, what is the focus of the arch that he is doing. And I, as a sports dentist, should know this, because I should know not just about the teeth and the chewing system. When the athlete says that he is a runner, I need to know the parameters that he could be optimized to and the parameters that are the main and necessary for him to do it without the trauma. So it's extra information, and it's no, you need to learn each day.
Yeah, so I mean, you're saying it's not just Lithuania, you're Estonia, Latvia. So you're working as a obviously group of countries, and they all have their own respective sports that are more popular in their countries. So it's important to understand what their players or what their athletes go through in terms of they have different injuries, they have different oral habits, different nutrition habits as well. So I think what we always talk about is that there's no I in team, but as John said before, there is in me, but there's no I in team. And as a group, as a multidisciplinary team, it's important to understand what sport you're dealing in and understand what their values bring. So certainly for somebody like yourself, when there's so many different countries with so many different sports, you have to have that relationship with the other medical staff and physiotherapy staff to know how you can help facilitate them with regards to their kind of oral environment. Do you see these athletes in a clinic or in a hospital environment? How is it you're seeing these athletes?
I'm working just in the private clinic, so I see them in my chair, the clinic where I am working, and it's not difficult for them to come at me. And if I need, I send them to the mobile lab, for example, for some examinations that we do before and after and during the process, because it's maybe not very nice, but we need to talk that when we can measure what we do, when we can measure the parameters of the chewing system, we can see when we are wrong too, not when we are right and we are helping. But sometimes we can make some changes that are not good for the athlete. And this is, you can't take from the context the message, oh, we can optimize, we can do trauma prevention. We need to be part of the team. And the dentist, one and alone, is not the part of the team. He should be the part of the team that every work goes flow. So,
Yeah, I think like you just said there, we certainly don't want to hinder or make things worse. That's really important. Yes, we want to be involved and help improve things, but we don't want to be seen to be interfering or intervening at a point where it's maybe not necessary. So there's also an argument to say we don't want to overcommit and get over involved. We need to know our place as well, and it's all very good having the best intentions for these athletes. But like the studies that you guys are doing and the other studies that are coming out from kind of all over the world, we need to be able to integrate that into our own diagnosis, prevention and treatment planning for the athletes that we see too. So that's a really important point that you made there, Rũta, actually.
yeah, and then usually I like to say that I see the multidisciplinary thinking. It's not working, but the thinking. This is why if I am invited, for example, to the conference of other specialties doctors for the physical meditation and rehabilitation, for the physiotherapist conferences, I try to share the knowledge from the dentist part. Because when the physiotherapist knows a little bit about the dentistry and how the chewing system works, what it's not from the muscles part, but from the teeth part, little bit, yeah, he gets the different angle, and he sees the patients then different little bit. This is why dentist also, when he is going to the other conferences, not just for the dentist, he gets little bit information about how all the body works, for example. And the main message maybe from the Congress that we are planning to do in June is to bring different specialties, doctors, dentists, physiotherapists, and even athletes to the shared event. It's not sharing the knowledge, but also the networking, because usually we don't have enough connections and we don't know what we can get from the other specialists, for example, what we can give to them and what we can get from them. So
Yeah, so you mentioned the conference in June. So this is going to be the first sports dentistry conference in the Baltics. I know from running conferences that how difficult it is to get the conference up and running, and I think you've been doing a great job to date. We actually looked at your website when we were looking at getting the website together for our conference, our second conference in Manchester, and you have a really nice website detailing the conference. Talk us through the conference, what to expect, what's the goal of the conference. You spoke there about how one of the objectives is to look at this multidisciplinary approach where we're bringing together the other professionals that work with these athletes and trying to integrate the sports dentistry involved in that. So chat through the conference and what's the plan?
The plan first is to talk about the thing that no one is talking about, because everyone is thinking that I'm the dentist and I know everything about the teeth, and the same what I can do to the casual patient, the same rules goes to the athlete too, because I'm the dentist. But the main message is to bring some stop signs for some procedures, maybe that it could be contraindicated when you have a high performance athlete, for example. Also, the other messages that we are focused on is to connect and put back the mouth to the full body system, because I don't know how it works in UK, for example, but here in Lithuania is mouth, it's not connected enough to the full body system. And it's very important when you have the athletes and you want to stabilize parameters, but you are doing just back down from the neck, and the chewing system is just eliminated. But also, it's not about teaching or sharing the knowledge. It's also, I like the congresses, the events that you just meet the friends, you just meet the soulmates, with the same goal to talk about some new researches, about new collaborations, and just have a good time, because it's also part of the event should be. So we think that
you don't need to preach to me anymore about having a good time.
I know that you are coming, and I'm very happy. I'm very happy.
So the conference, it's in Vilnius. Did I pronounce that right? Vilnius, that's the capital. What's Vilnius like? I see there's like an old town. Is there certain spots for people that are attending the conference that should, apart from obviously the networking and the socializing and having fun, is there certain areas that they should go and see?
Oh, I haven't prepared the guide tour and for this conversation. But yes, definitely, there's very nice places in Vilnius. Our old town is amazing. We are small, clean, and with the good vibes. We try to be very like happy and to smile, and we want to have as much tourists as possible, because we really have not touched the places of the nature and very nice old buildings with a great history. So also the beer is the best, I think. The colleagues from Germany and Switzerland were very happy, so I can do commercial about the beer too. But
That's good, because the last time we were both at a conference, where I seen you at a conference, was the EcoSep conference last year in Saudi Arabia, which I did not realize was completely dry.
yeah,
I
yeah,
think,
yeah.
you know, so I have a little bit of making up to do.
It was one of the moments that we haven't think about when we booked the
Yeah.
tickets, but the, but the conference in Riyadh was also very, very, very nice. And
Yeah.
um,
Yeah, unfortunately, I can't make the conference this year, Ruta, but from John's past experiences, can you please just make sure he's actually at the conference? Because we know after Byron Blasco talked to the one in Vegas last year, John, his attendance rate was not great. So please just make sure he is there for both days, and I'm sure he will be. I'm sure he's a changed man, and he'll be able to take in the sights with you in it. But it's definitely somewhere that I've never thought about visiting, but these opportunities do come along, and you know, it'd be great to have somebody with your local knowledge there to go and experience parts of Europe where I maybe wouldn't have thought about going. But that's the whole beauty of dentistry in general, but sports dentistry even more so, because we want to be this big family where we can share knowledge, experience, and network, and have friends for life, like you said there. So it's certainly something that people listening to this, if they've ever thought about going somewhere a bit different, where you're now launching this association on the 6th and 7th of June, John will be there and Ruta will be there with open arms to greet you, I'm sure.
And I was surprised about flights. There was direct flights from Dublin, so like getting there from Europe seems to be quite easy. So that opens it up for people outside the Baltics to come and join and have a great few days.
Amazing. I promise, Mer, that John will sit next to me and I will check on him.
Yeah, he'll bring his ankle bracelet and we'll give you the ear tag. I'm going to just buy one so he can carry it around with him. So he will always have one on him. So yeah, no, definitely. I think it's like John said, I think there is direct flights available. And we'll also put the website link for the tickets in the podcast description as well, so people can easily link.
This
click on.
is what I'm talking about the support and the background, that it's very easy, for example, to talk and to share the message about the sports dentistry, because we are new. Yeah, we created the association, but it's so easy because of you guys, because you are sharing, you are supporting, and you are giving data. You already have the data, you already have the experience working with the athletes, high performance athletes, with the clubs, yeah, and so on. And I hope that lots of sports dentistry associations will be created the next year even. And what I can share more, we had a conversation in the Alert Radio. It was national radio like translation. And we had conversation with Lithuanian Sports Medicine Federation president. And he said that he believes that each athlete during 5 or 10 years will have his own sports dentist, as now they are having the physiotherapist. It's definitely the future to have the sports dentist in the team, because you are connecting all the puzzle parts, the inflammation, the functional biomechanics, and you can measure everything and to see, is it good, is it not enough, where you can go even better. And I believe him too. I would like to believe him. So
yeah, I think 5-10 years may be a little bit optimistic, but if we look at to see how sports medicine developed and how now it's recognized as a specialty in the world of medicine, I think that gives us an example of how we can maybe develop sports dentistry to be recognized, possibly at some stage to be a specialty in terms of dentistry. And it really is bringing everybody together. You know, I think we're such a small group of sports dentists, even in the countries that are actively involved already in sports dentistry. it's such a small group of sports dentistry, and it'll take all of us to get coming together internationally to try to drive that awareness and importance of sports dentistry and the importance of, as you said, having athletes having a sports dentist support involved in their preparations. So this is why it's really great that to see the likes of yourself setting up your association and launching your first conference and others around Europe. I know when the European Association for Sports Dentistry first got involved or first ran their conference in 2019 in Paris, there was only maybe 2 or 3 associations around Europe independent of that. And now we have got 10, 15 different associations around Europe in each country. So it really is growing. And it's up to us all as sports dentists to support each other and really grow that internationally. So it's great to see that you've took the initiative to run the 2-day conference in June, and hopefully it's a great success and we can all support it.
Yeah, it's really very nice, and I also very happy that we will have not just the sports dentist as a speakers. We will have, for example, sports medic who worked many years in Barcelona football club, and now he's working in tennis area with the high performance tennis players. Rafael Nadal Academy. It's Mindaugas Gudelis. He is really good known. Also, we will have Dalius Barkauskas, who was, for example, for 11 years, the sports medicine head doctor in Lithuanian Olympic teams. So we are talking about the message that when you are going forward, you need to be in a team with the sports dentist, because every leaders they are having, the leaders who are in sports, the clubs leaders are having sports dentists, and this is the good opportunity to know how we can be part of the team.
Yeah, I had a look at the program over those 2 days, and it's a really good multidisciplinary approach that you have with the medics there as well. And it's the word of mouth is such a powerful tool that when these other healthcare professionals see just how well run these conferences and these programs are, they will speak to other medics and physiotherapists and nutritionists from other parts of the Europe and other parts of the world and say, actually, I was at this sports dentistry conference, or I was at this sports dentistry conference. And then they might say, well, I've not really heard much about that. And then that's how it's good. That's how I see it growing. I see it growing, yes, amongst us, amongst sports dentists, but it's actually going to be the other healthcare professionals that will then tell other healthcare professionals about the events that they were at. And then that's how it's going to grow. And it's that compound effect over time, over years, that they then start to believe or see the value of having sports dentists as part of their team. But it's from conferences like the one that you've set up this year, the one that we're doing later on in the summer, and the one that the Europeans are, and the one that the Americans are. Over time, that's what's going to happen, I believe, is what's going to take it from where we are just now to where the sports medics are now with their own speciality.
Yeah, it's really is developing, and it's great. Rũta, what about, have you any, apart from the conference, is there anything this year you're looking forward to, any sort of events? Or is there any big sporting events you're looking forward to this year?
Oh, I am coming to the conferences that you guys are planning to organize too. So I'm looking at all amazing events that sports dentistry associations are creating, because in each event we come back with even bigger knowledge and lots of nice contacts and collaborations. So I'm usually checking each the nice conferences, and I hope to see you in your conference too, because it's really interested program too.
Yeah, that'd be great to have you over as well. And I think Dusseldorf at the end of the year is going to be a great celebration for everyone to come together as well.
Mm-hmm. Everyone is going to Düsseldorf, I think.
Yeah, should be good. Well, thanks very much, Rũta, for your time and for letting us know a little bit more about the sports dentistry in the Baltics and the lead up to this conference and everything in this conference. And as we said at the start, hopefully the initiative that you have took to develop sports dentistry in your area and be that lamplighter and really push it forward. It gives other dentists that are in countries that maybe haven't formed an association together or haven't tried to develop sports dentistry, give them that confidence that they can go out and do the same thing.
Thank you very much for invitation, and it was a pleasure to share my experience and my plans. And thanks for big support once again. It's very easy to do something when you have such support and such nice colleagues all over the world.
Yeah. Thanks very much, Rũta. I really enjoyed listening to you. And like I say, if we can help in any way, please just reach out and let us know. I hope everything goes well at your conference in Lithuania, 6th and 7th of June. Hopefully we'll see you in Manchester. And if not Manchester, then certainly Düsseldorf.
Okay, definitely. Thank you.
Thanks, Rũta.
Thank you.
We are delighted to have Ionate as a sponsor for the Sports Dentistry podcast. Are you looking for a water bottle that's built to keep up with your active lifestyle? Look no further than Ionate, the totally leak-proof water bottles with triple lock technology to prevent spills no matter where you're headed. With a simple one-touch opening mechanism, you can sip on the go without hassle. Plus, Ionate's sleek, modern designs are not only functional but can be personalized just for you. Made from high-quality steel, these bottles are easy to clean and best of all, they're sustainable. From 320 mils to 1200 mils, Ionate has the perfect size for you, whether you're just out for a jog or going on a long hike. And it doesn't stop at water bottles. Ionate also has travel mugs and flasks to keep your drinks just right wherever you are. Ionate is the official water bottle supplier to the British and Irish Lions on their tour to Australia this summer, and are the official water bottle supplier to the NFL, so you know you're getting the best. I have been using their bottles for a long time now and cannot recommend them highly enough. So head over to www.ionate.co.uk to get your hands on the best bottles in the business, bar none. Now back to the pod.
So that was really interesting to hear from Rũta and to hear how she has been trying to develop sports dentistry where she is and the challenges that she's come across. Again, I mentioned before about when you talk to these different dentists from these different areas, there's always something that you pick up that you can maybe add to. And I found it particularly interesting how she was looking at doing salivary tests as part of the screening process of the athletes. It's something that we maybe haven't looked at from our point of view as looking as taking screening as far as that. We spoke in previous podcasts about looking at maybe introducing the intraoral scanner into our screening and the benefits of that. What's your thoughts on the salivary testing that Rũta was talking about?
Yeah, well, I think we did salivary testing on the Masters program. So, so GC come in and they're able to give you these little strips and you can do the saliva and it tells you the pH levels. But I think it's something that's very quick and easy to do. So why wouldn't we do it? So I'm just trying to think, we do everything else. We have a look around the soft tissue, we look around the hard tissue. Saliva is obviously really important for a number of reasons. Firstly, to be able to help protect the oral mucosa. You need to also understand its mechanisms with patients who have dry mouth. You might be able to find out information from a simple salivary test that otherwise we wouldn't probably know the answer to. So it's really fascinating that she touched on that, and it's something that she's obviously quite passionate about. It's something we probably need to look into a little bit more. I don't think it wouldn't delay or it wouldn't hinder any sort of screening that you do. I suppose obviously consent's a big thing with that. Patients athletes would have to give you consent about taking the saliva, I suppose. But I think more often than not, I don't think it'd be much of an issue, and it should be quite an easy thing to include into screening.
Yeah, definitely. I think my only concern is, and I probably need to have a better understanding of the options out there, is the length of time it takes to maybe analyze the saliva. She was talking about using it to look at inflammatory markers. And that would be a really good, I think that's that would be a really good way of communicating to the sports medicine team about the importance of screening, because that's something that they would understand and that they would and prioritize and be interested to know that if their slave is showing an increase in inflammatory sort of markers, then we can show how the importance of getting this athlete and making sure their oral health, particularly their perio, is up to scratch, so there's no influence on systematically from the oral health on the inflammatory system.
Yeah, I think if you can give them hard facts, then they'll sit up and take notice. So I think that's something where we can look at that, and the data, once they start to kind of build more data on that, then introducing that to the wider sports dentist, and to see make that mandatory when it comes to screening, because if it's something that's very quick and simple to do, and you can let the medical staff, the sports medical staff, know that you're doing that, and then they want to see the results, even if everything's okay, even if there's no inflammatory markers, even if there is a baseline, then collecting that data over a period of time, like the data has been collected with the IMGs, you have to start somewhere, right? You have to start somewhere. And as time goes on, as the data grows, then we'll be able to get a bit of a better insight into how we'd be able to then help prevent any sort of dental issues or gum issues, or if there is cause for concern, then that could be highlighted appropriately and treated appropriately as well.
Yeah, it definitely is. The communication is going to be really good there, because like if you're talking to a sports medic about BPE or bleeding gums or dental terms, it doesn't have the same impact as if we were talking in their language and things like that. So that's really interesting. So really looking forward. I'm hopefully going to get out to the Baltics to go to the conference. So it'll be good to catch up with everyone. June's a busy month. That's at the start of June, and then at the end of June, I'll be over in Washington's. But it's great to be able to catch up with sports dentists from around the world, and looking forward to it.
Yeah, you've got quite a lot of the conferences coming up, haven't you? So you've got the Baltics, you've got the Americans, you've got obviously ours, we've got Dusseldorf. Obviously the Italians are doing their sports dentistry conference, but it's the same day as ours. So 12th and 13th of September, they're doing it as well. But it just goes to show you just kind of how it's really building in Europe, and the momentum's building in Europe and America and just all over really. So I think we probably need to look at, there's one continent that we've not touched on yet. Well, two continents, Asia at the moment, and which we do have something in the pipeline for that. And then obviously Australasia.
Africa's a continent as well, isn't it?
Oh, there's another one. Yeah, Africa's another one. No, but I said touched on yet. America, Europe. Oh, then you've got Antarctica.
Antarctica, as I was going to say, yeah.
We're going to have to cover we're going to have to cover all seven.
What's the best sport? What's the biggest sport in Antarctica?
We'll find out. We need a sports dentist from Antarctica. So the 7 continents we've covered. Yeah, two
Europe,
so far.
North America, South America.
South America.
That's 3.
That's 3. And then we've so Asia, and then Australasia, or is Australasia? That's a continent, right? Is that how they?
Or is it Oceania?
Oceania. I don't know. Well, I'm gonna have to brush up on our geography.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to maybe do a bit of a tour.
Yeah.
Well, great. So that's another podcast in the bag, Boomer.
Yep.
We're rocking and rolling. I am looking forward to the next one, where I think we're going to take off on our continent, maybe.
Fingers crossed.
Or maybe not. We'll see.
We've been stung before about saying what we were going to do next. So let's just wait and see what happens. But always a pleasure, my friend, and we'll touch base the next pod.
Sounds good. We'll see you soon.
Cool.